Hi, Jeremiah. Lance Lysowski from the Buffalo News. Thanks for taking the time to do this today. I'm sure you're busy getting ready for everything else that this week has to hold. But just right off the bat, I mean, how would you assess, this first draft? I know you only had 5 picks, but I'm sure you'd be happy with the players that you got.
Yeah, no, it went well. Enjoyed the process going through it for the first time, like you said. Had an opportunity to do something in the second round and move up and get a guy that we had high on our list, which was good. And then as things played out, I like their selections. I like where we're at and looking forward to what the future has to hold for those guys.
Hi, Jeremiah. It's Bill Hoppy. What can you tell us about the guys you took in the later rounds? Albert and some of those other guys. I mean, they certainly have intriguing numbers and so forth, but we don't know a lot about them. But what could you just tell us about them in general?
Yep. Albert Likashin has some uniqueness to his game. He is an active defenseman with good mobility. One of the things I said to you guys when we spoke the other day is about desire to impact the game, and he certainly has that. He's a guy that likes to get up ice and have impact every time he's out there. So we saw those things in him, and we think there's room for development, which was obviously encouraging and gave us the confidence to take him. And it's a little bit similar with Konechny in that he has 2 distinct traits in hockey sense and skating. He's a fast guy. He's a light guy. On the physical maturity perspective, we think there's opportunity for growth with him, which is exciting. And we felt that, late in the draft, it was we were excited that it was still there and excited to watch how he progresses moving forward.
Jeremiah, I'm wondering, of the picks that you made, which one presented the most debate before you ultimately made the selection?
Well, there was discussions with every pick, obviously, leading up. We were set and prepared. As things get closer, looking at how some other things play out. But I would say later in the draft, when it started to become less clear who was going to come off next, we were trying to prepare because things are moving a little bit quicker at that point. Obviously, it was a long day, but we wanted to make sure that we were following things correctly, making sure who was getting crossed off as things went deeper. And I would say there was more debate later, but more in a preparation type of way.
Hi, Jeremiah. Thanks for the time. Mike Harrington at the News here. You had a very good problem, I would say, at number 8, looking at Quinn versus Perfetti and Rossi. And I know most of the draftniks seem to have preferred you'd have taken one of the other two. The guy you took had 52 goals, which seems pretty defensible to me. Understanding NHL writers, for the most part, don't see these guys. What was the debate, the dilemma there, and why Quinn in that spot?
Yep. Well, there's a number of things that stood out with Quinn. We point to his goal scoring, which is obviously very impressive, but you look at the development track that he's on, going from 12 goals the year before, having played AA on the way growing up, he is trending in a very positive manner. And he's also used in a number of situations for one of the best teams in the Ontario Hockey League. He's a top PK guy. Their PK was ranked 3rd at the end of the regular season. So we think there's a strong base to his game, and it comes with production, which is exciting. And we also think he's another guy that is trending positively from a growth perspective. I think added strength and size are only going to help him. He's got good speed. He has the elite shot, but he also makes a lot of plays. So the versatility of his game combined with the productive output is what ultimately made him very attractive to us.
Hi, Jeremiah. John Vogel with The Athletic. Hope all is well. We heard a lot, not just from your team, about late birthdays, especially this draft. What are drawbacks and benefits, both from the player and scouting view, for late birthdays?
Yep. Well, some of the benefits are in times due to kind of the cycle of hockey on the way up is an extra year of development in some cases. And some guys might be a certain age, but their biological age might be a little bit different. So for guys that aren't as mature in the younger levels, it can be a major benefit, and they get a little bit of extra time to take the next step physically. I don't see much detractors to it. I know the draft creates a focal point and a pinpoint of where decisions have to be made on players from a National Hockey League organizational perspective, but from a development perspective, it can be very beneficial.
Hey, Jeremiah. Mike Pockler from HockeyBuzz.com. Last night, Kevin Adams talked about having seen a lot of JJ. I was wondering how much Frank Musel, I hope I pronounced his name right, over in Europe, how much input he had into that selection or any of the other selections in the draft. And also I have a question over there. Are you still keeping an eye on Lawrence Pilot?
Yep, obviously we're obviously monitoring Lawrence Pilot's game and the situation that unfolded last year. But in terms of Frankie had involvement with all of these guys due to the nature of us revisiting the draft, obviously live viewings with guys like Lipkishin, Konechny, Peterka. But from how things unfolded the last 3 months, he was involved top to bottom throughout the entire process.
Jeremiah, your title, of course, is Director of Scouting, which means that yesterday you weren't just focused on the draft, because there's an awful lot going on around the league as it pertains to guys and their contracts and impending free agency on Friday. Can you take us through the dynamic of everything you were focused on yesterday and what you're specifically talking about right now among your group as we head closer to free agency?
Yep. The primary focus yesterday was on the draft. We obviously did a lot of preparation for tomorrow. And that really is consolidating information from the last year of scouting, getting things in order from a positional perspective, from a needs perspective. Kevin is armed with that information. We're continuing to meet on it today so that we're ready to attack the things that can help us get better potentially tomorrow.
What was it about Mateo's game that really attracted you guys to him? And did the familiarity there really help when you're really trying to project, I guess I should say, what his game is going to be a few years from now?
Yep. Yesterday, or was it the day before, we talked about guys that desire to have an impact on the game and are invested in their own personal development, and some of the knowledge, given that Mateo played in this area and with the Buffalo Junior Sabres, gave us a good understanding of where he lied in those two categories. But the other thing is he's had very good production, another guy that was used in all situations. Playing in the Ontario Junior Hockey League, he had a great opportunity and good success. He's moving on to the BCHL. And the type of person he is has already led to him being an assistant captain as a rookie with that organization. So I like the trend he's on from a development perspective. And then he's going to go NCAA to the University of North Dakota, which obviously has a strong track record of developing players that end up playing in the National Hockey League. So the track is good, the person is good, and we had very good confidence in our understanding, being that he's played hockey right in our backyard here.
Mike Harrington again. What's your reaction to the Ontario Health Minister talking about no checking potentially in the OHL, and how much level of concern might that have you look at a guy like Jack potentially maybe playing in Europe instead of the OHL?
Yeah, I think it's a good question, because obviously that came out yesterday, and it's a little bit unusual given the physical nature to our game. But I think, like in all aspects of our life, we're a little bit at the mercy of some of government restrictions and regulations that are a result of COVID-19. We're obviously going to monitor that from a development perspective with our new process or our new prospects, and kind of see on a situational basis, depending on what level they're playing at, what the situation is with the league, and how we can best make adjustments if it's possible.
Hi, Jeremiah. Paul Hamilton from WGRZ. Was wondering with JJ, he shouldn't have been there, and that's why you traded it up at 34. Why do you think he fell? I mean, he should have been a first-round guy. He was projected there. Why do you think he fell to 34?
I don't really know why he fell. He didn't fall for us. He had a high place on our list, and we were looking at potential opportunities to get up, even taking him in day one, which didn't come to fruition. We reset after the draft and kind of reorganized the list based on what had taken place in the first round, made the decision that if there was an opportunity to step up and take him, we'd be happy to do so. And that's exactly what played out. But in terms of what made him slip, I'm not sure. He's a competitive guy. He's got very good speed. He's already playing at the men's level in Germany. He's had success at the World Junior event with the 4 goals. And I think that's a tournament that's largely, you know, a 19-year-old event where you're playing some pretty stiff competition. So we had a lot of confidence, and I think it showed with how we attacked them in the second round.
Jeremiah, last one for me. A little birdie, perhaps one of French origin, once told me that you kept a picture in your office, the draft floor, imagining the day when you're running a draft down there. And your first draft doesn't happen on the arena floor, but the way it did yesterday, did it still feel as good to be in that position? What was the day like for you?
Yeah, it felt very good. And obviously, there's something about scouting and working in hockey that makes me passionate. It's been a goal of mine. So happy Marty remembered that. But the different environment didn't really change anything for me. It was fun to partake in the process, and really for our scouts' work to show through and come to fruition. It was a good experience and a good one for the Sabres. We're happy with how it played out. So it was a really good 2 days.